Hey everybody, Caleb Arthur here. I'm the CEO and founder of Sun Solar. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the solar laws that we had worked on last year and passed in the legislative season here in Missouri. One of those laws that we passed was Senate Bill 745. This one is one of the actual copies that Governor Mike Parson signed and gave to us while we were up in Jeff City. So that was really neat. Um, I also have a copy that you'll be able to see in a photo that we pop up on here that is signed by not only the governor, but also my kids. So me and my wife and kids were up at the signing, and that was pretty unique to be able to have my kids there with the governor having that bill signed. So we also had Senate Bill 820 that was signed by the governor, and that has a lot of the same legislation in it. But what that legislation talked about was about use tax and sales tax exemptions for solar. And the reason why we're talking about that today is that goes through the Department of Revenue through the state of Missouri. And the big thing that has to do with that is the Department of Revenue recently came out and added some clarification about solar. And what they were talking about was there was some mechanisms in the bill that were giving the exemption to homeowners and businesses if the solar was installed, by a contractor. And so there was questions about if solar was installed by a homeowner. And I'll just read you the implementation note sent to me directly by DOR earlier this week. And what it talks about is it says if someone that is purchasing solar panels themselves wants to install it on their own home, they would not be eligible for the exemption because it is not sold to an end user. So as long as the solar panels are sold to an end user from like a solar company, then you have the use tax sales tax exemption. Now, the funny thing about the use tax sales tax exemption in Missouri, which it's also in other states for solar, it came about in 2018. So in 2018, the state of Missouri actually showed up and asked to audit Sun Solar. And when they showed up to audit, my CPAs told me I had nothing to worry about. And so we allowed the state to go back and audit a full 3 years of taxes at Sun Solar. And they came back and told me that I owed them over $500,000 in taxes, even though I'd been paying my taxes faithfully. So I thought, wow, that's pretty wild to owe over $500,000 to the state. So we hired a law firm and we had fought the state for almost 3 years. And right before my trial started, we agreed to a settlement that I think I'm legally bound. I cannot talk about the details of the settlement. But during that time, we had reached out and we had started talking to our local state senator, Eric Burleson, who is now no longer a state senator. He's our United States congressman for the 7th Congressional District here in Missouri. But we also had started talking to our local state rep, Bishop Davison. And between our state rep and our state senator, they started working on a use tax sales tax exemption, and they started working on an HOA bill that would no longer allow homeowners associations to forbid those associations from you putting solar panels on your home. So through this Senate Bill 820 and 745, we were able to get the use tax sales tax exemption and the HOA laws put on the books once and for all. So that's really exciting that we were able to get those through, signed by the governor, and now the Department of Revenue through a lot of our, through us working with DOR for the last few months, getting this new clarification out that the exemption is in full force, how to apply for it. There's a link for solar companies to be able to apply for this for the on behalf of the homeowners through the solar company. So really excited on that, but also have some more exciting news. We have a state rep that just won and became a state senator named Curtis Trent, representing around Springfield, Missouri here. He's introduced a new community solar bill, and community solar is something that's very fascinating that can help low and middle class Missourians go solar. And it's Senate Bill 697, and it's just recently been filed in the last week, and that's here in Missouri as well. At the end of the day, how you can help continue to get pro-solar legislation passed in a state like Missouri, where it's Republican-controlled House, Senate, and governorship, is to support solar companies like Sun Solar. We have over 300 employees now. We've been in business 11 years. We're the largest solar company by far. We cover the entire Midwest area from Kansas, Missouri, northern Arkansas, most of Illinois outside of Chicago. So you call us, you invest with us, we reinvest those dollars into supporting the solar industry. And what we do is we give to organizations that also support the solar industry. So we're going to throw up a link that you all can go back and click on, or you can Google them. But Renew Missouri, you spell it RENEW and then MO, Renew Mo. It's run by James Owens, the director. They're a nonprofit. They really help support the renewables and specifically solar. They work very closely with us. You can always donate to them, and they will help the cause. So, there's a lot of good organizations out there that will help the solar industry, but these folks are by far the biggest. But whenever you decide to invest in going solar, some of the biggest things is investing with the right company that's going to be here long term. And with us being in business going on 11 years now, I would say we've seen probably 80% of our competitors come and go that are no longer around. And while that's sad that they're no longer around, you have to think about the serviceability and the warranties and how to get your systems worked on over time if something does pop up. And so that's one of the biggest things that I always tell people is making sure that you're picking a company that's going to be reliable and there for the long term. Our systems come with a 25-year workmanship warranty, and so you want to make sure that whoever you're picking to install your system is going to be there for the long term and then installs it correctly the first time, so that you're not going back and having to rehash and re-deal with the system. But solar does save you money. Solar is a good long-term investment. If you're a Missouri resident, obviously you can use this use tax, sales tax exemption through your installer. If you're an Illinois resident, you actually get SREC, so it's a rebate through your utility company through the state, and those rebates are pretty substantial. And then everybody that goes solar, if you qualify, can get a federal tax credit to offset up to 30% of your cost of going solar. And if you can't utilize the tax credit, then what you can do is you can look at leasing your system through a lease mechanism, and we can do that in-house for you with the local community bank that we've teamed up with. So there's all kinds of options, but at Sun Solar, one of the biggest things we do is we're providing sustainable solutions for homeowners and business owners to where they no longer have to be tied to their utility company and riding that rocket of electric inflation, utility bill costs, where you're going up 6, 7, 8, 12, 15% inflation cost every year. So super excited to be able to keep offering job creation. One of the really exciting things that we're starting to get into is looking into manufacturing solar panels back in the United States. That's something that the federal government's really been pushing on, and something that's always been near and dear to my heart that now looks like it's going to be a more viable solution for us in the short term into the future. So that's something that's very exciting. Definitely looking forward to what the solar industry is going to become. It's already such a very large industry, one of the largest and fastest growing jobs creators in the United States. Last year at the beginning of 2022, we had 115 employees. Now we have over 300. We're expecting to need an additional 200 to 250 more employees in 2023. So just very blessed, very excited for the growth that we have. And thank you for everybody that's following and supporting us, and for all of our customers. And definitely stay tuned to see what happens to Senate Bill 697 from Senator Curtis Trent. So thank you, everybody, today, and stay tuned.